Sherry, could you tell everyone who you are, first of all?
My name is Sherry Gordy. I'm 34. I have 3 children and a wonderful husband.
Okay. Is it all right if we ask a couple questions today?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. Easy question first. What is hope?
Hope to me is a desire for things to have a good ending, or things to work out, or something that people hold on to bring them through a struggle.
Okay. So, do you have any example of a time when you had to have hope to get through a struggle?
My whole life. I've had situations where, like, I had taken a class at ASU, and it was like a religious course.
Okay.
And so what they did was they really made the Bible plain, and so they dissected it and gave, like, passages where it wasn't coherent or cohesive, and they really made it ordinary literature. And I think at that time I just was like, what's the point? Like, what is the purpose? And so I really had lost a lot of hope at that time.
So what made you take that course, first of all?
I thought it would strengthen my relationship with God at the time. I was dealing with issues with previous relationships, my mom, my sisters, and I really thought that if I could read through the Bible, that I would grasp things that would help me hold on. But at that time, it did the exact opposite. It took the Bible to a scholarly, it broke it down in a manner that made it ordinary literature. And a lot of things in the Bible, you have to have faith that it happened, because we were not there and we didn't see it happen. So, they took it from they took it to a scientific standpoint, and that really made my hope and belief in anything diminish.
How do you recover when your hope's destroyed like that?
It's the things that happen in life. Like, there are some things that you can't ever explain. Like, one time I had a situation where I didn't even know how my children were going to eat, and I had somehow overpaid my card tax and my registration, and I got this check in the mail, and I kept going back, and I was like, well, how did that happen? But I know if I had not, if I would have been doing it my way, I probably would have spent that money on something else. But it came right in time. So it's situations like that happen in life that you can't really give an explanation to.
Okay. Do you think that there has to be a struggle to discover hope?
I was talking to a coworker one time, and I was saying how I think that God allows you to go through things so that you can see His glory and His power and what He can do, because you wouldn't really like someone could tell you something, but unless you experience it, you can't really develop that same sense of how good it is. Like, I could tell someone that, there's times where I feared for my life, and there's times where, like, if you do this or you do that it's going to end up a certain way. But until that person actually experiences those things, you don't really know. So I think that everyone has to experience God for themselves.
And if a person has never experienced this God, this hope, what do you say to that person? Because there are going to be people who you'll come across, or maybe even someone who's listening, and they'll say, how do you find that hope? Where do they look to find it?
I don't think that it's hard to find. I mean, you wake up every day. You're even there to even, it's a lot of people in this world that don't have their mothers and don't have anybody. And the fact that you could wake up to get another chance is enough hope for me. Like, that was one of the things that I'm very grateful for on a daily basis, is that no matter how bad yesterday was, I have the opportunity to change that today.
And that hope comes from God?
For me, it does.
Is that from going to church, or what is that from?
I wouldn't necessarily say going to church, because I've gone to church pretty much my whole entire life, and I don't think I ever really had a relationship with God till this year. I felt Him calling me back a lot of times, but because I was doing my own thing and I was leading my own life and I was going a path that I thought that was best for me, I ignored the calling. So it took my life to be totally just horrible for me to say, you can't control it anymore. You have to let go. And when I started letting God, that's when it all turned around for me. I'm crying now, but I'm very grateful. I'm very grateful because even now I pay tithes. Last year I wouldn't even think about paying some tithes because I'd be like, how am I going to eat? And now we make less money than we did before, but it all came together. It all comes together. And I can't explain how it does, but I just know that it does. So for me, God is a provider, and He's always provided everything I've needed.
A person who has never heard of the Redefine Project and they come to see it, and how does that relate to their life? How does that display hope to them?
For me, redefine means another chance to look at life from a different perspective. I think now when I speak to people, I try to tell them that I'm not trying to sound all holy and like I know everything, but the only thing that I know is that for 34 years, nothing ever has worked out without God. Everything. I have the same job. I've had the same profession that I've had for the past 10 years. And it wasn't until I started giving to God for when I started being noticed for some things. I have never been so blessed in my life. And I think that if people just understand that you have to give God a chance, because He's always there. He's just waiting for us. And to me, that's what redefine means, that you could put away the worldly things and give God a try. And come to Him and seek Him first. And I think that that's where we all go wrong. We seek worldly things first, and we don't seek God first. Because I have a beautiful home, but if I lost it tomorrow, I still have God.